And let's see if I can clear up a couple of things for you folks with the hydraulic slides. I'm not going to discuss the electric slides because I don't have any. Mine are all hydraulic. So some of you are having problems with these hydraulic slides when they're coming in or going out. Your slide is raising up too much as it makes that initial movement to come out, or when it's just about all the way fully retracted, it will move up a little bit. And if the slide is vertically out of adjustment, and when I say vertically, I'm talking up and down. If the vertical adjustment is not correct, then up at the top up here, and I'll show you in a minute, you're going to have issues with the slide binding. I'm looking at the back end of my passenger side slide, and it's a nice afternoon here in the southern Idaho. It's about 80, so it's not real smoking hot yet. But if you're going to make a vertical adjustment, then you have two bolts on this bracket, this arm bar that extends out. It comes out from the frame and runs out and hooks up to the slide frame. And you'll see that there are slots, one here and one here. So if you're going to make a vertical adjustment, you have to loosen both of these nuts. And then underneath, you'll see a bolt. And you'll see that it has two nuts on it, one on the top and one on the bottom. And what you have to do, if you're going to make a vertical adjustment, either up or down, is loosen this lock nut, and then you can run this screw either in other words, this way, to raise the slide up, or you can turn the bolt out to lower the slide down. And what you do on one end, you have to do on the other end. And I'm lazy, so we'll just use the zoom, and you can see that there in fact is the very same adjustment bar and adjustment points on the front of the slide as well. I'm going to try to make this video as short, sweet, and simple as I can, because Lippert has a very good video out explaining how to properly adjust. So I've got a ladder here, and I'm going to climb up, and we're going to take a look at how much clearance I have vertically between the top of that slide TPO roof and the wiper seal. I have an extendable ladder here, and one thing with these ladders, you want to make damn sure, pardon my French, that these safety indicators all show green or whatever color your ladder might have if you're using one of these. If one of these is not in and it's hung out like this, and you go to climb this ladder and you get up, this ladder can collapse, and when it does, you can break your feet, you can cut your toes off, you can fall off the ladder, you can do all kinds of bad things. So check your ladder before you climb it. As you can see, I have pulled the ladder back up and made sure that the green indicators are good all the way up. So let's go up the ladder and we'll take a looky-see. Okay, so here we are at the back edge of the passenger side, and I'm going to take my fingers, and as you can see, I can easily get my fingers completely up underneath this slide, and there's still room. This portion of the seal is metal right up in here. It's a light aluminum or tin metal, and this is the rubber seal. And so I know that just looking at this, and we'll just take a roundhouse guess and say that there is about 1 inch of clearance from the edge of this TPO membrane on the roof to the bottom edge of this seal when I pull it up. And it's the same on the front. I'm not going to go around over there because it's hotter on that side because the sun's shining directly on that side of the slide. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these slides all the way in and then extend them out just a couple of inches so that you can see how much clearance there is. I'm going to leave the ladder exactly where it's positioned because I am double checked to make sure that I have enough clearance there so that the slide edging right here won't contact the ladder when it goes in. Okay, so we're inside the fifth wheel, and I'm making a quick cursory look around to make sure that I have put everything back in the proper place before I retract these slides, because I was in here this morning cleaning the inside of the windows, getting ready for our trip here in a couple of weeks. Okay, so what I've done right now is I've started to bring the main slides in. The bedroom slide came in first. And if you notice, This is on the passenger side, and if I get passenger and driver side mixed up, bear with me, folks. You know, I'm 68 and I can't remember where I put my keys half the time. But anyways, you can see where the vertical edge is of the top of the slide in the fascia. You can see the seal is still fairly compressed. And then as we come down, you can see that it's extended further at the bottom than it is at the top. And when you look at the slide, and let's see, we'll get up on the stairwell, see if we can get a better view. When you look at the slide, you can see, in fact, that the top of the slide is still tilted in a little bit, and the bottom is tilted out. And if you look on this slide, this is the driver's side. It is the same way. You can see that we're tipped in at the top. And if we look down here, I can't get a real good clear view, but it is tipped out at the bottom. That is normal, and that's what you want to see as the slide first starts to come in. What's happening is the bottom of these hydraulic slides is riding up on some wear bars, and that's why the slide is at an angle right now. Okay, so we'll go ahead and pull the slides in and watching to make sure that everything comes in okay. And that slide come in pretty clear. I see I don't have my fan in the right position, but I know the fan blade is going to clear. So we're all the way in now. And we can now see, of course, that the slides are nice and vertical. And if I take a quick peek outside and I look at the slide, you can see that the edge up at the top all the way down to the bottom is nice and flush. Now what we're going to do is extend the slides out just a little bit. Okay, and on my 3-system hydraulic slides, the passenger main slide always extends out first before the other slide does. You'll see that it's going to get fully extended, and when it does, we'll let the driver's side slide extend just a little bit. And you heard a little pop sound. That's my slide on this side riding on the UHMW. It's perfectly normal, and that's the way I repaired it, and that's the way I designed it, and that's fine. So now let's go out and see. We've barely opened this other slide, and so let's go see how much clearance we have, because the slide is all the way up on the wear bars that are on the bottom where the floor rides against them. Okay, and as you can see, the slide is extended, we'll call it maybe 3 inches. And man, that sun is bright. And of course, I got a honeybee that wants to visit. We have a honeybee farm about a mile from here, so they like to come over to our house. So up the ladder we go. Okay, yeah, now we got a train going by. Just awesome. What I'm going to try to do is reach in with my finger, and we'll zoom in just a little bit here, hopefully, so that you can see what we're talking about. We'll reach in here with my finger, and I can easily get almost 2 fingers underneath this seal. In other words, that's as good a video as I can get of it. In between the top edge of that seal and the top edge of the roof membrane on the slide. So you can see there's almost 2 inches of clearance right now. Okay, now what I'm going to try to do is continue to extend this other slide, and I'm going to stop it just before it fully extends and comes off of the lower wear bars. So we're going to come out right about there. You can still see that that slide is tipped. If I look down at the bottom, well, I'm not going to be able to give you a very good video, but I can tell you that the distance from here to here versus the distance up at the top it's a little bit tighter on the top, and it will be until it fully extends. Let's bump that out just a little bit more right there. Now you can see that slide is still tilted, which is normal until it gets all the way out. And we'll come around here, and this is looking at the back edge of that slide. And we'll come down here, and you're probably not going to be able to see anything with that. But anyways, there is a considerable difference in the gap from here to here versus the gap from here to here, which means that the bottom of this slide is still sitting up on the wear bar. In other words, it's not fully extended. So let's go out again and do the two-finger check and see how much clearance we have. And as you can see, the slide is not fully extended, but almost all the way. So let's go up there and take a check. So here we are up on top of the roof, and we're going to take my finger, lift the seal up, and you can see that I can still get my fat fingers up underneath here. And so I'm going to call that 3/4 of an inch of clearance. Now we'll fully extend the slide all the rest of the way out. And while we're here, we'll just take a quick look-see at the top of the slide. Everything looks good. It's clean. It's sealed. There's no screws popping up through the Turn-Upon tape I put on 2 years ago. So back inside we go. We'll extend the slide all the way out, and hopefully the old men don't fall off the ladder. And before I fully extend this slide out, it's probably about 6 inches from being fully extended. You'll notice that the slide is starting on this end, is starting to droop down just a little bit. That's what you want to see. And you'll notice when I get this extended fully out that this droop that you see on the outer edge of the slide, you'll see that there's going to be a more pronounced downward droop. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and fully extend this remaining slide all the way out. And we're all the way out. We'll turn off all the lights in here that I used to try to get a better video. And let's go take one more look-see. Okay, now you can see that there is still a downward droop on this slide. And just eyeballing it, if I measured it from, if I measured from here to the ground and measured from here to the ground, there's probably, just looking at it, I'd say a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch difference. And that's what you want. You want that droop. That allows the slide to ride up onto the wear bars properly. It gives the proper angle as the slide starts to come in. And also when the slide fully closes, if you were outside watching, you would see that the top portion of the slide will contact the outer wall first, and then as the slide fully closes, this bottom last 2 feet or so will pull itself in and be fully closed. So let's go up one more time and take a look-see at how much gap we have up there at that roof seal, wiper seal, and the TPO membrane. So here we are back up on top again. We'll lift this seal up one more time, and you can see that we have about the same amount of clearance as I did before. It's a good 3/4 of an inch to an inch worth of clearance. I got fat fingers, so. And also, you know, you want to look at these seals while you're up here, and what you want is you want to hear those seals pop down nice and tight. And if you can come over here and stick your finger underneath an edge of this seal anywhere from one end to the other, if you can easily get a finger up underneath here, the wiper seal is bad. You need to replace it, or you're going to have water leaks and you're not going to be a happy camper. Okay, we'll go wrap this thing up, put it all together in one video, and see if it makes sense to anybody besides me. And I wanted to point out one more thing. Oh yeah, we've got the little Weber barbecue all washed down and cleaned up, ready for the next trip. Looks pretty good for being, this one's about 12 years old now, but got to put that back together. I'm one of them guys that does many things at once and never gets anything done, HI. So we're kneeling here in the shade, wrap this video up on a quick down and dirty vertical adjustment procedure on these slides. Again, look at the Lippert video or the Lippert service manual for hydraulic slides and adjustments. If you have some reasonable mechanical skills, you can do any of the adjustments on these hydraulic slides yourself. You don't need a technician. You don't need an RV service center. You just need a few tools, and you'll need big enough wrenches to loosen up these bolts and the locking nuts. But other than that, nothing special. But another reason that these slides kind of tip downward just a little bit when they're fully extended is, if you stop and think about it, when it rains, if the slide is tipped downwards just a little bit, what that's going to let the water do is run away from that wiper seal, and it's going to run away out to the outer edge of the slide roof and then down on the ground. If the slide was perfectly level, or if it was lifted up, which it should never be either of those two conditions, then that water is either going to pool up on the top, which you don't want, or if the slide was lifted up too high, that water is going to have a tendency to run inward towards that wiper seal, and then you're going to have a pool of water that's trying to work its way and find any teeny gap that it can and get underneath that wiper seal and come down inside and get your carpet wet, get your flooring wet, and just make a nice mess of things. So there you go. It's a simple video. I hope I've made some sense to the folks that have questions about this. And again, use the Lippert hydraulic through the frame video on how to adjust your hydraulic slide, and use the service manual. And if you don't think you can do the job, then take your RV to a place, explain to them what's going on, and explain to them what you want done and why. And with that, we'll wrap this up for the day, and I got to get the smoker going and get some barbecued chicken going.